This week on the Misfit podcast, we're going to talk about Cycle 3, exercising, and a lot about Jordan Cook. Material objects will never satisfy.
Thank you, Jordan.
How's that?
Did you take that from the Bible?
No.
Okay.
It's from my own heart.
Oh, wow. Okay. Everybody, welcome to the Misfit Podcast, episode 17. We are joined today by the one and only Jordan Cook. Hi, Jordan.
Hey, guys.
Wild
Glad
card.
to be here. Yes. That's my official nickname.
The wild card.
The wild card.
Why do they call you the wild card?
Because I do weird crap.
I guess
Never know what you're going to get from
Never
Jordy.
never know what I'm going to do or say.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what we've learned in the last couple of years. Before we get digging into what Jordan's been doing for the past 4 or 5 months since the games. 4 months?
How many months has it been
I don't know.
since the games?
August to October? 3 months,
3
I guess.
months.
Boy, it feels like a long time.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, it's been a dark 3 months since the games have ended, so we'll dig into that in a little bit here. First, we'll take care of some housekeeping issues. The training camps. So we have 4 training camps on the schedule coming up. First one's going to be CrossFit 503 in Portland, Oregon, and that's actually happening in a few weeks here, November 13th to the 15th. SPSC CrossFit in St. Petersburg?
Yep.
All right. Florida, December 4th through the 6th. Pillar CrossFit for our second time in San Antonio, January 8th.
Is that falling on the same weekend
As
2
what?
years in a row?
I don't know.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Okay. So around the same time last year, we were out there, and it was freezing
That was
in
cool.
Texas. Icicles in Texas. I didn't think I'd ever see that when I travel. And then CrossFit Ephrata. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
Okay. And in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, January 29th through the 31st. Tickets can be found on misfitathletics.com.
Mock Regionals is coming back December 18th through the 20th. That's actually a subject that Jordan would probably like to talk about. Jordan won last year, and we took some of his reps away and pushed him down to the third place or second. Do you remember?
Actually, I wasn't going to win. Travis had that locked up.
No.
We made the decision. The standings were done, and you were in first place, and we took it from you. Yeah.
I thought I was in second for sure.
We thought it was a good example to teach people how to act during the Open, just to say, this can really...
Oh, you know what? I think he did come in second, and we bumped him to like third or fourth. Yeah, bumped him out of the top 3. I think he's right, actually. I think Travis did win, and it was going to be Travis, Jordan, and I don't even remember who
Joe.
third place. Was it Joe third?
Joe.
Carney, yeah.
And we told him, sorry, dude, your deadlifts do not look good on video, and this is a good lesson to learn now instead of during the Open.
Try to get it away with better angles.
Yes. So
so basically for anybody that's new to the site this year or new to the site, obviously in Cycle 3, we simulate regionals Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That'll be at the end of Cycle 3 again, December 18th through the 20th. You'll start to see a lot more about it popping up on social media here in the next few weeks. But you sign up, battle against these guys. If you beat them, there's a pretty good chance we'll talk about, maybe getting you sponsored. And if not that, then you just get cool prizes. So
this is kind of the only time of the year that it is sort of an open invitation to get a Misfit sponsorship. A lot of people ask us about that, and we don't really have maybe the clearest answer that they want about what it takes to get sponsored. There are tons of factors that we look for, but one of them is obviously performance. And if you show up and can prove that you can beat our best athletes and are interested in being a part of what we do, then that's kind of your open calling each year to get a shot at chatting with us about that. So take advantage. Okay. MisfitGear.com. We have a bunch of new gear coming out here pretty soon for the fall-winter season. Joggers and hoodies are coming.
What are joggers?
Joggers, well, something I don't really wear, but everyone seems to love. They're like the skinny jeans of sweatpants. Would that be a good way to describe it? Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. Yeah, okay.
They're kind of like CrossFit, though. They're very functional. Like, I tried to run those sprints the other day in my Lululemons, and I almost died.
That's true. Yeah, so you can... people can kind of pull them up like capris, I think, and squat and shit in them, and people, not actually shit, but squat and stuff, I mean. Sorry.
Gee, I can't wait to get my
sounded
joggers.
terrible. So you can take a shit in them.
No one will see. It won't fall out your shorts.
You go into the
stuck right in the leg.
Misfit joggers. You can shit in them.
Pull them up to your calves, and it's just like a giant diaper.
Just keep going through the Metcon. It's like,
all right. I promise they're cooler than the way we've just been talking about them. But anyway, sweatpants are coming. Hoodies are coming, and we do have custom men's shorts coming, which are going to be very, very cool. I know people have been waiting a while for those. It is going to be worth the wait, so those are on their way as well. Back to you.
Always want to bring up the remote coaching and the affiliate programming. For anybody that doesn't know, we do remote coaching for athletes, and we write affiliate programming for CrossFit affiliates. We've kind of revamped our remote coaching program recently and are becoming a lot more collaborative with each coach. So we have some new spots open. That's how we were able to do that, and you're actually going to be getting feedback from kind of the whole group. You'll have one person that you're in contact with, but we're doing a better job of getting together and working as a group. So we did fill about half of our open spots just last week after we announced it on the website, but there's still a handful of spots left. There's a remote coaching tab up at the top of the site. You just click that, fill out the application, email it to me, both for the remote coaching and the affiliate programming. So
it's back to me, but my topic is very vague. Want to help me out with what you mean?
Yeah. So we are kind of phasing out the Win Misfit gear, but we're still going to be giving people Misfit gear, right, Seth?
Oh yeah. We sure are. Coming up on Cycle 3 test week, we have the infamous Misfit Snatch Complex, which is a snatch overhead squat, hang snatch overhead squat, and we'll be watching you guys do that with all the videos on Facebook and Instagram next week. And we will pick a winner based on a few things and give away some cool stuff, maybe even some of the new stuff we have coming into the store. We will announce the details on Instagram Tuesday night before the complex comes out that next Wednesday. So if you're interested in winning some new cool stuff and you'd like to snatch, then this might be something fun for you. So keep your eyes out for that. Okay, I lost my spot here.
Now we're on checking in with Jordan.
No, we actually have like an itinerary for the first time ever for a podcast. Usually we just talk to you guys and we get off topic, and sometimes we cover the things we want to, sometimes we don't. So we figured it's time to get a little more organized, but not used to it yet. So, hi, Jordan.
hey, Seth.
Where's your itinerary?
I'm looking at it on his computer.
Oh, okay. Cool. How's life been since the games?
It's going.
Wild card.
I've had better days.
So, since the games, we know that you were slightly disappointed with the way that they finished up for you this year, although you were one of the, seems like few that actually finished all the events.
I did survive all the events.
All the people that dropped out this year due to injury.
It was a brutal year, that's for sure.
What did you do after the games? What did you start doing? How did you start dealing with the next season coming or taking time off or whatever? Give us a snapshot of your life since August.
Well, the week after the games, I really wanted to, I had to cope. So I ate a lot of bad food and consumed some alcohol here and there.
Wow.
Jordy.
I know.
Finally living up to that Misfit you're wearing on your chest, huh?
That's right. Essentially, I just said, you know what, I not only did I need to, physical recovery, but mentally I was just beat and drained. Just from one, having such a rough weekend, physically, and then, not finishing where I wanted to finish this year. It was tough doing that, and so I needed just a little time off to recoup. I didn't last year. After the games, I jumped right back into training. Was really hungry, and this year was completely different. It was oh man, I did bad again, and so I needed some time off to kind of get my head clear and figure out, kind of reassess some goals and figure out, what I really wanted to do and how I needed to tackle it.
Well, I just want to say that I think you're the only one that thinks you actually did bad. I don't think anyone else thinks that you did bad. I know you're going to be your harshest critic. You think so?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you go 4 people. There's how many people at the games here? 40?
Yeah.
And how many dropped out?
4, 5,
4.
6, something
I know
like
where you're headed with this.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
What place did I get?
36. 36.
Finishing last place at the Crossfit Games. Even I know
that's doing bad.
Yeah. at the CrossFit Games.
Well, that's my point. You're at the CrossFit Games.
Fair
So
enough.
the 2,500 guys that qualified for regionals via team, individual around the world.
Fair enough. I see
I
your
mean-
point. I know where I stand, like against the world.
Yeah.
But as a competitor, like it's never satisfying to
Sure.
finish like that.
And
I
it
don't
shouldn't be.
I don't care if it's a some small local comp or the CrossFit Games. Like I'm not going to be satisfied unless I do better.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Matt Fraser's satisfied?
No.
So everybody but one person that's a competitor is not going to be satisfied, correct?
Yeah.
So then you have the right mentality.
Yeah.
But do you think the change of taking time off after the games is a positive or a negative for you? I think it's a good.
It's a positive. Taking time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's positive. I kind of learned that from watching some of the more seasoned game veterans like Dan Bailey, Sam Briggs, all them. They take plenty of time off after the games, and I think I've learned that you just can't beat your body up 365 days a year. You just can't. It's gonna catch up with you. I don't care how old you are, whether in your recovery peak, early 20s, mid 20s, you're still gonna get beat up, and too mentally. It's tough to push day in, day out, 365 days a year. Even when your goal is a whole year away.
So have you started to ramp back up? Like when and how do you take it back up in the right direction?
I told myself around November, end of October, November range, right now. Yeah, now. Really about 2 weeks ago, I said, all right, time to start kicking it back in gear.
Cycle 3 is a great time to do
That's
that.
what I said,
If you have a good base. If not, it's a little too late. Luckily for Jordan, he has a fantastic base.
Yeah. No, I told myself that November range, and that's when I got to start cleaning things up, getting my head back in the game, and pushing day in, day out.
So is this like a light switch, or is this gradual? Can you just say on Monday it's time to go, or have you been ramping up to it?
I think it's gradual. It's still.
I don't think you knew what you were gonna say. I could see you're it's a light switch. It's gradual. It's definitely gradual.
It's
sure.
gradual.
It's gradual.
Well, no, I look at workouts that, unless each day I go in and say hungry for a Metcon, even if it's something that I don't want to do, then I know it's gradual, because I still haven't had I still haven't had a 5-day a week workout week that was just every day I'm like, all right, I'm gonna crush the Metcon today. I'm gonna beat everyone on the block. I haven't had a full week of that yet. I've had a few days, and it's consistently climbing up to closer to that, but it's still not quite there.
Okay, so at this point, what are your plans moving forward? How do you just jump back in where everybody and just kind of pick up where everybody's at now, or do you have some sort of big scheme going in your brain that's going to get you back where you were and bring you up? Because you can't just be where you were last year. You have to be better.
Yeah, no, you're always trying to improve. I think all three of us have learned a lot from my experience at regionals 2 years now and the games 2 years now. It's we've kind of learned what works and what doesn't, and so we had an interesting discussion earlier about how to tackle competitions in the future and some ideas that we were throwing out.
Yep.
And I think this year, it comes down to simply I still have to work hard. Can't get around that. I have to. But I think there's certain things we can focus more on.
Would you think that, or would you say that you matured in certain ways about certain aspects of your game? When you first start CrossFit, you become obsessed with being great at everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there is a weakness, you say it has to be tackled, which is true to a degree until you get to a certain level with that skill.
Yeah.
Would you say it's easy to accept your faults as an athlete and continue to spend time on them, but to continue to progress in the things that you're great at? Or would you say that you need to spend more time working on the things that you're, not as good as the rest of the field at?
Yeah, I think that, one, you can't ever ignore weaknesses. Especially like you said, starting out at CrossFit, it was, hey, I can't do butterfly pull-ups. I'm going to hit this until I get it. Like when you're starting out, when you're still trying to climb up to that regional level, you're going to have to do that. I think you need to tackle your weaknesses and get well-rounded. And then once you climb up to a level where you've been doing this for a while and you start peaking at certain things and you're not seeing progressions as fast as you used to, I think then you focus on your strengths, and like I said, don't ignore your weaknesses. Keep trying to get them better, but don't let that consume all your time.
Right.
When I first started CrossFit, I was like, hey, I need to be able to do double unders forever and chest bar pull-ups and muscle ups, so I did that all the time. I let it consume everything I was doing, and I got really good at that, and I moved on to the next thing. So if I were to do that now and ignore a lot of other stuff I was doing, then it would probably hurt my game, because I might not improve that much now on my weaknesses. Even if I spend a whole lot of time, it's going to take it. As you excel in your training, it's going to take longer and longer to get better at your weaknesses, I think.
So kind of like we talked about today, is it more important to be able to add 30 pounds in your back squat or 40 pounds and hit 450 for a 1 rep, or is it more important that you can put 225 on your back and hit it for a chunk in a Metcon in our sport? Which is more important? And you're at the point now when you're saying, okay, if I'm adding weight to my back squat, it's 5-10 pounds over the course of 4 or 5 months. Is that really what I need to really spend my time focusing on grinding out, or should I be putting my efforts elsewhere and getting more proficient in the things that I can do? Come time to compete, I can finish in the top 10, top 5 in these things I'm really great at and take a huge chunk of points and accept the fact that my 1 rep max snatch is not going to be Elijah Muhammad's 1 rep max snatch when it comes down to the games.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it depends on what level you're at. For me, it's I need to start focusing and start really excelling more at the things I'm already good at. And like I said, don't ignore. I can't stop back squatting heavy.
No, of course not.
And if I hit PRs, great. But if I can be consistent with it and not lose anything and hit consistently at higher percentages, that'd be great. But also you have to be able to move the weights in the Metcons and whatnot, and focus on already, what I'm good at too.
I agree. Boy.
What was your favorite event at the CrossFit Games?
The last one, that was the easiest one. The easy one for me.
The pegboard?
No, the handstand push-up one.
Yeah, I know. I was kidding.
Hardy hard.
Wait, I thought you liked the sandbags the best.
That was a great event, jumping, hurting my knee, almost spilling the wheelbarrow over.
Oh my God.
Not figuring out how to get a sandbag.
Fun to watch.
At least you didn't spill the wheelbarrow.
What's funny is how in the back we're like, here, fold it up like this and just throw it over. I was like, and I was doing it, and then when I went out there to do it, the bags were way bigger, and I was like, this isn't gonna work, and it just crumpled on my face.
I liked when everyone next to you was sprinting down with 7 sandbags on their shoulders and stuff, and you're dragging one. Like, holy shit.
This is really heavy. Guys, are y'all's ladder? What felt great was I think I was in one of the fastest heats.
You were.
And I was like, well, I just finished last and the entire competition, and all these guys' times were just really good, and so it made me look even worse. And so I was like, oh man.
You need to beat Travis in a running workout at the games next year.
I
need to do that.
What sucks is, so that yoke event,
yeah,
it wasn't hard. I was running hard, but the yoke was set too high for me, and it was
skipping on the ground.
It was stopping me on the ground, so I couldn't go any faster. I wanted to really bad, and so I would take off running and pass up 4 guys, and then they'd pass me back up on the yoke because I couldn't. I look over and they're just jogging with the yoke on their back, and I'm like, I can't get it any higher. I'm trying to shrug and everything. And so the reason that happened, we measured in the back, and so when I stood up with the yoke in the back, it was well off the ground, and but there was no weight on the yoke, and so I think the fact that we were out on grass and there was weight on the yoke, it kind of it sunk me down, I guess, and so that was a lesson learned. kind of sucked. I was like, this would be a good
Give
event for
me some more game stories.
more.
Yeah, good and bad.
Oh yeah. Well, a great story. I did pretty terrible at Murph and almost died.
You know what's funny, actually? I was watching football last night, and at the same time, football was on. The CrossFit Games were on ESPN too, so I was flipping back and forth during commercials, and I just so happened to catch Murph, and they only highlighted the people in the front, but they do a couple overviews, and I could see you way in the back doing
Kneeling
push-ups,
down or
kneeling
something.
down. You're looking over at your judge like, oh, God. Get down, do like 2 or 3 more push-ups. And I was like, hey, there's Jordan. Me and Corby were all excited. But you didn't get much airtime, I'll be honest.
No, I didn't. That was a really hard event.
Do you think there was something wrong with you? Do you think you had like heat stroke? Or?
Yeah, I think I was on the verge, and that's why I stopped. Like my hands were shaking, like almost after the pull-ups. Like I felt good going into the pull-ups and finishing the pull-ups. I felt fine. It's all right, here we go, push-ups. Let's start chipping away. I was gonna try and do 5s the whole way. I got quite a few no reps for reasons I didn't agree with, but and so I felt I was doing good push-ups, and she was like, all right, now tell me to do something different, and it's like, this feels weird. And then I started really feeling the heat hit me. Oh my gosh, it was hot on that floor. Like I don't see how everyone just kept going. And I was like, and I got through the push-ups, and I was really hot. My hands started shaking. Every time I stopped, I'd look at my hand, and it was just shaking. I was like, well, this isn't good. And I asked my judge, I was like, you got any water on you? And she goes, nope. And she goes, you can go run over to the tunnel and get some.
Oh, thanks.
I was like, I can't do that. I got to stay right here and keep going. But I had a water bottle with me.
Oh, you had a water bottle with you the whole time.
You know what? Yeah, we're not talking about that.
There's a lot of water drinking during the CrossFit
I
Games.
was dehydrated, so
It's true.
I had the water bottle with me, and I would squirt on my neck, and it was cool at first, but when I got to the squats, it was hot at that point. Like, it turned into hot water. And when I started getting the squats, about every 15 squats, I started seeing stars. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take a knee. And so at that point, I was like, I'm just going to get through this, and I don't want to DQ, so I'm just going to take my time. And I finally finished 300 squats. And I walk over, and Dave Castro is over there. He's like, do you need medical attention? I'm like, he's like, you have 5 minutes left. Please don't run. I was like, all right. And he goes, go sit in the tunnel. I said, yes, sir.
Well, we saw you guys talk, and then we saw you go into the tunnel, and we're like, is he seriously running? So we thought you were running.
That was the only place I had
and then the
shade.
scoreboard was messed up, so it said you were passing people, and we're like,
Yeah.
go Jordan!
Yeah.
It turns out you were laying down in the
I was
Yeah.
like out on my back with ice on my neck, ice on my chest, and Lucas Hogberg,
Yep.
he was back there too. He was like freaking out too. Like, what was scary was like I felt really bad for the girls. I think it was a little hotter for them than it was for us because they went right after us. And
Yep.
it was like closer to noon.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the back getting ready to go do the snatch workout, the snatch ladder. And we were all sitting in the tunnel because before the snatch ladder, they're going to announce the Friday night event. And the girls were running through the tunnel, and next thing you know, they finish up, and they're like, get out of the way. And they're carrying like 4 or 5 girls like on stretchers, and like they're all like in tears, like or either that or passed out. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're trying to kill us this year.
A lot of girls took the idea that they'd wear the big hats and the full like long sleeve shirts to keep the sun off them. But it just trapped the heat. And all of them that did that overheated like crazy.
I had my tank top underneath because I thought that the weighted vest would actually start rubbing against my skin and like, you know, and hurt after a while. But I didn't get back to the run, so that didn't matter. And so it actually got hotter. I was really contemplating trying to figure out how to get my shirt off without taking my vest off. If you took the vest off, excuse me.
Whoa, you all right over there?
There's my Progenics and my Fit Aid mix.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't. If you took the vest off, you'd DQ. So.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't. I was like, oh well. Just
You couldn't take it off and then put it back on
Nope.
and continue working?
No.
Couldn't come off?
Couldn't come off.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're serious about that.
They
I
were
guess, huh?
serious. So that was a rough start to the weekend. It kind of went downhill from there.
Well, it's not for lack of training, though. I mean,
No.
before that, you did like a 17-minute half Murph in training.
No, I did like a 14.
A 14-minute. So,
Murph.
yeah. So it's not like that wasn't a good workout for you.
No.
We thought it was going to be a good workout.
Thought it
for you.
was. I think just the mixture of the heat and the intensity behind it. I think it just got me. Which is weird because I'm from Houston, Texas, and it's hot.
Yeah, but if your body's not working, it doesn't care where you
Right.
No. And so.
Do you think part of it? I mean, I know, I believe that a big part of it was the heat, but do you think part of it was already a little bit of mental doubt creeping in from the night before?
Maybe a little bit, but not so much for Murph. I was ready for it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do good, and I was like, this should be a good workout for me. I didn't expect to win it, but I thought I was going to do good. I was pissed off from the night before and said, you know what, I'm about to destroy this workout.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I got everyone started off the run. I was like, let's crush the run, and everyone sprinted off to the tunnel, and we're all running like a 6-minute mile on that first run. I was like, all right, fine, they're all gonna run fast too. And so I get to the pull-up bar, and Scott was right next to me. I was like, Scott's good. Let's keep up with him.
Yeah.
And so I was doing good on the pull-ups, and then it just, once I got out in the sun, it just toasted me. I mean, I think the mental breaks started settling in once I started getting really hot, though. It got hard to mentally say push.
But if you could go back in time to whatever, either right before it or a day before it, what could you change? What would you do?
I'd grab a gallon of ice cold water and bring it out there with me to just keep pouring on myself, to keep my body temperature.
And do you think
down.
there was anything that recovery wise that you didn't do prior to that, or
no? I don't know what I could have done different other than try and keep my body temperature down. It was just that hot.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was the majority of it. I'm sure there's other little factors in there from it. I had the quad issue, which and then I kind of hurt my knee the night before, which it was not fun running and squatting. I was taking 2 Excedrins before every event out there, just to try and get the pain out of my legs.
Yeah.
So.
And that's one thing we don't really talk about either, and you didn't even want to talk about it during the games. Every CrossFit Games athlete is dealing with a tweak or an issue of some kind. Almost everyone has something. I mean, your quad had been bothering you for quite some time, and it was undiagnosed for a while. They could not figure out what was going on with it. And we tried talking about it and seeing what we could do, but you didn't even want to bring it up or talk about it because you wanted it just kind of out of your head.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't going to heal overnight.
Right.
It was clear it wasn't some tight muscle or something. It was there's something wrong within my quad. I couldn't explode off my toes. I couldn't. Power cleans hurt, box jumps, sprinting, stuff like that hurt. And so it was in my head, and I just said, you know what, everyone here is beat up, and they're not complaining, so just shut up and do it. And so that's kind of what the thought.
And what was the diagnosis after?
There was it was a tear in the muscle fibers in the quad right before it connected to the ligaments. That's it. We didn't ever get an MRI just because it started improving slowly. And
there isn't anything you can do about it.
No,
right.
I mean, it's
getting an MRI.
I was okay, it's been confirmed what we thought. There's a tear. So
right.
It's slowly it's definitely almost there. Every now and again it bugs me, but I can run, jump, that kind of stuff, which is kind of important for fitness.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
So going forward, any change in mentality approaching this year's? Let's be honest. We know that you can get through the Open.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something we worry about. Barring any sort of catastrophic injury, you're going to make it through the Open and get to regionals. Do we have some sort of different way we're going to approach regionals this year? Mindset? Are we confident? Are we cautious? How are we going to approach that?
Well, I'm confident for sure. I've gone through 2 regionals, comfortably, I would say. I think I'm going to improve more this year. But I also, like you said, I agree that I need to be cautious too. I can't just go into it, Travis Williams style, saying I'm just going to win,
Right.
I don't want to be too overconfident because anything can happen. I mean,
absolutely,
anything could happen. So I'm not gonna go in there saying, "Oh, I've got this in the bag." I'm gonna go in there and give it everything I've got for sure.
Yep.
Everyone else is getting better too.
As the field gets better, mistakes become more and more costly. So You have
Right.
one mistake in one workout, you may not, I mean, not you, but in general, athletes
Mhm.
may not be able to recover from it. So,
Exactly.
yeah, being well-rounded is still as important as ever.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else from your life you want to bring up and tell all your fans?
No.
Didn't think so.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Nothing. I had
Nice answer.
coffee. I haven't had coffee in a long time either.
Why?
I drink that amino energy stuff sometimes.
I drink that too.
It tastes pretty good.
It does. I don't know if it does anything for me,
I
but it
don't
tastes
know.
good.
It's up here. I just PR'd my clean and I took some of it.
That
so-
is true.
Boom.
And then I had a good.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was forced, but that's fine.
Amino, yeah. I don't even know what's in force. What's in force?
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's better.
Tastes better too?
Everything about Force is better.
I'm just testing you to see how good of a sponsored athlete you are.
Look at this. Come on.
That's all right.
Come on. Don't question me.
Whoa.
My bad.
Okay. All right. You want to talk about cycle 3 with us? This is kind of
Yeah.
your bread and butter.
Is
This is. Are you kidding me?
I'm not sure
This
what's
is-
on Cycles 3.
This is what you haven't been paying attention. Then this is like year 3 for you, going
Okay.
through this stuff.
Cool.
This is what makes you as good as you are. This
I thought
is
it was hard work.
within this type of
Oh.
training. Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. Just pulling it up. Got to move my itinerary to the side.
We posted the
Porno?
Charlie Sheen with the smoke coming out of his with the smoke coming out of his shirt, saying shit's about to get real. So if
Cycle
you're
3's
if you're a
coming.
fake exerciser and you just like 1 rep maxes and stuff like that, probably don't go to misfitathletics.com on November 2nd.
No, that's going to really
It's
set
gonna
you
put
back.
it's gonna put a damper on your fun. I mean, just in terms of the philosophy of cycle 3, it's just we're getting closer to the season and it's time to.
Keep in your pants over there, Jordy.
Oh my god,
That's my jam.
Shh, don't leak it yet. God, no specifics, just the outlines.
For all they
Shh.
know, it could be heavy DT.
It's not FDT. Carry on, Drew. You were doing a great job until Jordan got.
Jordan got all excited.
Yeah.
So basically, we're getting closer to the open, and it's time to add in more conditioning. But the conditioning itself is a special brand of pain. So Seth will get us started with that.
Yeah. So you're going to have a lot more options. Well, we'll pick a lot of stuff for you, but there'll be more conditioning in general in the cycle itself. Not necessarily a jump in volume at all, just a jump in or just a change in the style. So you still have bitch work, and the bitch work will consist of, surprise, biking, rowing, and running. Wow, what a change, right? The distances may be a little different, and the goals might vary a little bit. We might want you to hold certain paces or certain splits or certain wattage for a certain amount of time and start to push the threshold of what your legs and shoulders and things can take with that. So we're focused more on the muscular endurance this cycle, and obviously still breathing too, but more about muscular endurance, making sure that you don't drop that bar on, halfway through your set of thrusters, making sure that you can hold on for a bigger set of chest to bar, making sure your ring dips don't burn out early on in muscle ups, all those things that allow you to go a little faster, a little harder, do a few more reps in your open workout. That's really what this is about. Big sets of wall balls, big sets of double unders, all that stuff that you're going to find in open wads. So we'll have bitch work, mandatory 1 day a week. You will see it posted up 4 days a week. We have the accessories have changed quite a bit this cycle. So the accessories are going to be high rep gymnastics. So we're going to make sure the skills locked down, and we're going to learn how to do big sets over and over again. Again, muscular endurance being the theme. Interval work will start to integrate bars as well as gymnastics. So you'll have it's sort of like a traditional triplet, couplet style for the most part, but they'll be broken up into short AMRAPs or sets with rest. So you can really push hard through the more traditional CrossFit style workout and have breaks. You can really push that threshold further than you'd be able to in a regular straight through Metcon. And then of course we'll have regular straight through Metcons, which is what Jordan is the king of. So do we want to talk about test week at all? Or do we want to just drop those on them as surprises?
They're too good.
Yeah.
Just
Okay. just
Surprise
know,
us. Surprise.
just know that it's going to be fun. But there's nothing crazy. There's no huge change. It's just the focus is starting to slide from more skill-based and more making sure that your movements are down pat through cycle 1, cycle 2. It's less foundational work and more into CrossFit. The way I kind of explained it at a camp recently was when we start cycle 1, we sort of separate things a little more. We have our base of strength. We have our base of conditioning. We have our base of skills. And as we go on, it kind of funnels into traditional CrossFit. And we're right at that point where we're going to start spitting out a lot of workouts at you guys that are not going to be tricky. They're just going to require hard work and focus and pain tolerance. And it'll get you ready. So that's as simple as I can put it on my end.
How much do you think, and Jordan might be able to answer this, how much do you think that cycle 3 helps confidence to go into cycle 4 because we up the reps a little bit? We try to make it a little bit more about muscle endurance than breathing. Obviously, there's both, but...
Remind me of cycle 4.
So basically the difference between the two is you're looking at more, and Seth can talk about this, but we bump the reps up just a little bit to make sure that you're comfortable with pushing just that little bit further. So maybe there's 40 wall balls in a workout in cycle 3, and in that same round, there's only 20 or 30 in cycle 4 because we're looking more for the speed of it. But
Exactly.
cycle 3 is like, can you push? Like, can you go further?
Will you hold on?
Yeah, I think for my opinion, this cycle, just by looking at it, this is a very important cycle to develop a mental toughness. Like holding on to the rings, holding on to the pull-up bar, holding on to the barbell. This is the one where it's like, hey, I can do this unbroken, and I can transition without thinking about it. This is where you need to start developing that skill. In my opinion and personal experience, transitioning without thinking about it is very, very helpful. Going into a movement where you can just go unbroken.
When you say not thinking about it, does that mean like even though your legs are on fire, your shoulders are on fire, and you're breathing heavy, you still go on and start knocking it out? Or,
Yeah.
or what is that? How do you just do that? How do you block that pain out? How do you have that will to move on?
You know, one, it doesn't come overnight, but two, it helps. Like, that's what this cycle is very good for. Like, over the cycle, you need to develop that skill. And two, it helps, one, to have a training partner to try and beat. And you can ask Travis whenever we worked out together. I don't cycle through reps just as fast as him, but I transition without thinking about it and just pick up the bar and go. Because I'm like, I need to get ahead now.
Well, those were the comments on your pennies video. People couldn't believe that you dropped the 225 and just turn around and start doing muscle ups. No one does that.
Right.
That's not
Yeah.
a thing. Like,
You just have to. For me, I was talking to the guys earlier about this. Like, learn to relax on certain movements, and like the ones that you're better at. So I'm more comfortable with big sets of unbroken muscle ups. All right, and so I say there's a harder movement next to muscle ups, heavy squat cleans or something that tore me up earlier. I can focus on I can relax a little more on the muscle ups and just without thinking about jumping up there, kind of close my eyes, breathe, and then focus on pushing harder when my heart rate gets up more on, like, say, the heavy squat cleans.
Do you game plan this before it starts? Do you like look at the piece and go, okay, this I know I can crush. This is where my focus needs to be. So I'm going to really push hard here and then kind of relax and go into autopilot. And we know your gymnastics are good. Muscle ups, toe to bar, chest to bar. Like, you can go into autopilot and those sort of movements. But when you see a big set of squat cleans or something else you're uncomfortable with, whatever it is that where you just put your focus and your drive into the piece? Is that how you do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, say, heavy thrusters and chest to bars. I hate heavy thrusters, but I can do them.
Right.
But like before the Metcon, I have to mentally prepare myself for the pain of it. Like, I'm like, you're gonna hold on to that barbell, like, because you can do it. The chest to bars, just walk up and do them. But the thrusters, I have to mentally say, suck it up and don't drop the bar. Like,
What's that do?
that's my sniffles from pennies from pennies earlier.
All
it's
right.
it's a little colder here than it is in Houston. So.
Yeah, it sure is. So what do you say to somebody who says, "Oh, I hate heavy thrusters and I hate chest to bar"? Jordan, what do I do now?
Try really hard.
Okay. I will then. I'll try really hard.
Well, like I said, I think this is the cycle to, one, help really develop a mental toughness when it comes to certain movements. When trying to go unbroken, it's like fight for it. This isn't competition right now, so this is the time to develop those skills and high rep movements. Like in the open, you're not going to be able to develop them.
Right.
They need to be developed now. And so like when people certain people ask me like, hey, what should I be focusing on? I'm like, hold on to the pull-up bar. Like it's okay if you don't crush this workout today because you need to crush that movement during the open if you want to make regionals. So like if you want to make regionals right now, you need to be holding on to the pull-up bar, the thrusters, the muscle-ups, all those movements. Fight for the extra rep. Even if you fail it, fight for it.
I think that's really good advice for the people that are trying to get to regionals this year. Let me talk to both you guys about the people who realistically probably know they're not getting to regionals this year and maybe probably shouldn't be doing everything as prescribed. So when the point is to give them a big set of something, like we'll use the wall ball example again. Let's say it's 40, 50, 60 wall balls in a set, or even a big set of pull-ups, 40 pull-ups in a set. And maybe, the point is, again, to work on those big sets and work on that endurance. How do you help guide them to scale something when 40 becomes something that kills intensity versus teaches them how to have build endurance? Do you understand what I'm saying? So like at a certain point, if you have too many reps, you just can't do any more reps. So you're not helping yourself. You've killed the workout by making it too long. How do you help guide somebody in scaling something when it is supposed to be almost a long set, maybe undoable, unbroken, but still supposed to be done in big chunks?
I would encourage that person to really know their limits. To like say, hey, I know I'm not going to be able to do, this many pull-ups unbroken. If I do, my arms won't work. I might even get rhabdo, like that bad of pull-ups or something. You need to know where you're at. Like that's very important. A lot of people even I think at the local affiliates will watch, like me and Travis work out, and they're like, man, I want to try that. I'm like, no, like this is like my full-time gig. I do this all the time. Like you're not going to be able to do what I do.
Right.
And so people like in similar situations, you need to know you need to be realistic and say.
That's a really tough thing to tell people. I
know.
say it all the time. I'm overly realistic with people, and I think
it's tough,
can kind of break their soul.
It's also a safety matter too. It's like I don't want you getting hurt,
Sure.
And two, if you push it too hard, you just screwed up a day of working out. It's like, so be smart, make sure the intensity's there, and do the limit you have to do. Know your limits.
The progression though, it doesn't take that long. If you can be humble just a few times on X movement, you can get yourself further. Because so many people are capable of so much more than they think they're.
Mm-hmm.
So you knock the 40 wall balls down to 20, and you absolutely crush it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you overscaled a little bit that day,
Mm-hmm.
but you know how you can do wall balls in a workout, and you know that it can be 30 next time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump from 20 to 40. But I think that if you are still getting that same stimulus, you cannot progress. If you overshoot the workout, you're never going to get better. It's not possible. Physiologically, it's just not, there's no adaptation. It's just not going to work. So it's so important for people to take a step back for just these short periods of time to build a little bit and then go for it.
I 100% agree. You can break it down to any movement. I don't have a person who's new do a full snatch before I have them do, like a power snatch, or
right.
It's progression. Like you cannot skip steps. You just simply cannot. There's freaks of nature out there who just pick it up like that, but you can break it down to the smallest thing. If you skip progressions, one, you develop bad skills, and you can hurt yourself. And
you cannot make it to regionals.
Yeah, well, it's just like if you're patient, you put the work in, and you're patient, you're gonna see it. Like you have to be patient with it.
That's a satisfactory answer. I'll take it.
Thanks, Mom.
Wow. All right, you want to jump into some strength work?
Let's do it. Basically, I could just say sets of 5 and then drop the mic and walk away. We do have the lovely clean complex and snatch complex work that everyone loves so much. It's become something of legend.
It has.
You have to do the clean complex, drop the bar, and then do the clean complex again immediately.
Borderline Metcon.
5 times.
I remember
that's a mental piece. It just condensed into whatever, 40, 50 seconds.
I remember first time doing the clean complexes, and it was within like every other minute on the minute.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and I remember like hating life. Like it was like, oh, it's time to go again. This lift is taking me over a minute, and I have to pick it up now without rest. And so,
yeah, this year and last year we upped the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
And built a little bit more rest in because some of the people with the lower skills couldn't complete it because the complex itself just took too much time. I don't think it was really the weight as much as it was like I got to get my grip, and then they were sitting with the bar in their hip pocket, jamming their hands into it, trying to get it back. So
the smoothest people are the people that do the best in the complex because they spend much less time under tension with the bar. They don't hang out in their front rack.
Oh, no.
They move right through it like one of those kind of fluid bear complexes almost, and they're through it in half the time. When you're at your max weight and you're really like, hitting each lift as its own thing and not putting it together smooth, it's the most brutal thing you'll ever have to go through.
Especially in a double.
Yeah.
I think if you watch, like, I'm sure me and Travis will post some videos, but if you watch, like, I think Travis probably has some on his Instagram page, like, from, like, last year of us cycling the barbell. Like, well, we don't let it sit on our shoulders.
No.
Like, I don't like
you make up your mind before you do the power clean.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm gonna once I power clean it, it's going right into the power jerk. From power jerk, I'm catching it and I'm riding right in the squat.
Yep.
Popping right up in the hang, popping right on the bar. Like, I want that thing done as fast as possible.
Definitely.
And
Breathing heavy is better than the burn you get from holding on to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Time under tension.
So, we are getting into some strength work with the power snatch and the power clean. You guys were given the opportunity to practice a little bit in the retest week, and then we'll be in this actual test week that's coming up. You guys will be finding some new 1 rep maxes and the power movements. Again, lots of sets of 5. One thing that's a little bit different from last year, we are going to continue to squat snatch and squat clean, but we're going to alternate. So you're either basically you power snatch and squat clean 1 week, and then the next week you power clean, and I don't know if I said that right, but you guys get the picture.
They get the point, yeah.
It's my favorite time of year. It's Texas method season on the back squat. We like to build you guys your nice strong base. We beat the shit out of you in cycle 1. We let you have some fun with it in cycle 2, and then in cycle 3, this is a CrossFit back squat cycle.
CrossFit back squat.
What did you just say?
CrossFit back squat cycle.
Okay. We are much more impressed with your 5 rep max back squat than your 1 rep max.
Yep.
It applies to our sport in a way that the 1 rep max just doesn't. Everyone has athlete X, Y, and Z at their gym that crushes 1 rep max back squats and cannot crush squats in a Metcon.
I concur. Well,
Yeah.
1 rep maxes are stupid.
Well, I wouldn't call them stupid.
No, they're stupid.
Just because
No, they're
you
stupid.
may not be a fan
Nope, they're
of your
stupid.
own.
So we have the Texas method for anybody that doesn't know what that is. Every single week you find a 5 rep max, and every single week you do 5 by 5 at 90% of that. As you add 5 to 10 pounds a week to your 5 rep max, the 5 by 5 becomes a religious experience. Trying to do a Metcon after isn't always the easiest thing, especially when you're not in shape. I speak from experience.
Implying something there?
No, I'm talking about myself.
Looking right at
if you're picking up on it and you feel guilty, that's your own thing.
Okay.
You should feel guilty right now. You better.
I feel okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk after.
The only other mandatory strength work is we're going to start cycling some push jerks. It's going to be 5 reps. We did transition in the last few years. We didn't really feel like it was necessary to put you guys on blocks and have you go really, really heavy with the push jerk, or it wasn't as important as taking it out of a rack and cycling through. So we had more sets, a few more reps. Now you guys are going to be cycling through, and then hopefully we can add some even higher rep stuff in cycle 4. The 2 non-mandatory strength pieces this cycle, and again, these are always for the people that just need to lift heavier more often to get stronger. Leading into their season, we get some deadlifts, some touch-and-go deadlifts, and then Friday is odd lift Friday. So you'll have things like squat clean thrusters, maybe power clean to push jerk, just things along the lines of that don't fit into a standard strength cycle, but they put a heavy barbell in your hands and don't crush your CNS. So
Anything strange like strongman stuff, like stones, yokes, anything like that in the odd lifts?
yeah, I mean, to be honest, the odd lifts as we go through, they it's the one thing that isn't filled in for the entire cycle. So as we start to get more feedback from our sponsored athletes on what hurts, what doesn't, maybe it's not so smart on this day to pick up a stone, maybe it's not so smart again to squat after you just did your 5 rep, that kind of thing. So you'll definitely see some strongman stuff in there. You'll see, you might see some overhead squat, that kind of thing.
Cool.
I remember liking the 5 rep max last year. Like, we were constantly doing it because it was getting cold. So I meant the tights and then the sweatpants came on. I was like, oh, I'm bouncing to the hole a little better.
And you realistically, like, you can add, if you start, and I don't want people to do their 5 rep max and like not try, but if you start somewhat modest, you can add a lot of weight over the 6 weeks. It's crazy.
I remember like
a lot of people add 10 pounds a week.
I remember last year I hit like a 375 week 1 and then like a 400 the next week. I was like, what just happened? Yeah. And then it plateaued. It was gone.
But I'm trying to think. My max was something like 415, and I think I made it all the way to like 390, 395 on 5.
Wow.
Over the course of 6 weeks.
So that's impressive. Yeah,
I think Cody like did a 5 rep at like 3 pounds under his 1 rep, something along those lines.
Well, that's what's funny. Like I might hit 405 like once in a blue moon. I remember hitting like 2 weeks in a row. I tried for 405. I hit 405 4 times.
Right.
I'm like, where did this come from? Like,
mentality. It changes.
Nervous system adapts.
Well, everybody likes 5x5 though. Well, it's like a love-hate. We get the most.
It works.
Yeah, it works.
It works really well.
And we get the most like good feedback. There's all kinds of PRs and stuff all year, but we get like people who are so pumped about adding 15 pounds to their 5 rep in the first week and then another 10 the next week, as opposed to people who are just bitching at us about squatting 3 days a week like last year and other stuff. And then they're usually happy near the end, but it's like just a drag for them forever. But I think a lot of people have a lot of fun this time of year. So anything else? Cycle 3. I mean, more will unfold in coming days, so.
Be ready to work. I mean, if you have the right mentality and your lifestyle actually lines up with what you're trying to do, trying to get to regionals, it works. You're going to notice a big difference in once we knock the reps back just a touch in cycle 4 and you just start flying through Metcons.
Yeah. I would just encourage, like, the people who, like, need to get better at the gymnastic movements. And
you stole the words right out of my mouth. That's where I was going next. Keep going, buddy.
Yeah, I would just encourage you, take the time to warm up those movements to make sure you have those big sets in there. And I know, like, for me, like, I don't know if these guys would fully agree or not, but like when I was developing my gymnastics reps, like getting high reps, I would, after Metcons, like I'd go for a walk, like after it, let my heart rate settle, and then I'd come back and I would hit like some sets of muscle ups, like to try and get some big sets, like outside of Metcon where I'd have time to recover and stuff, or I'd warm up with it.
I feel like you've been to our camps, and that's how we explain it to everybody all the time. I just invented this, basically. Jordan Cook, inventor of training
skill work
gymnastics outside of Metcons. I invented that.
Just saying, like
no, you're 100% right.
Like just because you're not, like, you can develop some high rep gymnastic skills outside of Metcons. Like, I would encourage you to practice them outside of Metcons too, because you're not gonna get much better skill. Like, you're not really gonna develop good skills inside of Metcon when the intensity is super high. Like, you can get comfortable with your skills inside of Metcon, but you'll get better at them, I think, outside of the Metcons. Does that make sense?
It does. And the whole accessory part of this cycle, at least 2 days a week, are about working on the endurance of those very important open style gymnastics. Yeah. Handstand push-up, toe to bar, chest to bar, muscle up. Perfect. And if you're not taking the time, just like you just said, to warm them up and still train the skill before diving into 50 muscle-ups for time, your time shouldn't be 30 minutes to get 50 muscle-ups.
Right.
So, like, that's something you could, if you're really struggling, you practice a skill and you scale that back and make sure that you get, maybe it's 20 muscle-ups for time, and you're really flying through that. And the same sort of principles apply to the other, 100 kipping handstand push-ups for time is coming in week 1 of cycle 3. A lot of people can't do 100 handstand push-ups in one piece, and we get that. So You spend time warming up the handstand push-up. You watch some of our videos or other videos on the skill work. You practice the skill work. You make sure someone's giving you feedback on the skill, and then you go through it at your appropriate level and work on it.
And you look at the open, and it's like we know the movements that are coming to the open. We know
We
them.
do.
And so what
He has been to our camps. He's just saying the same things back.
Well, what good is
just
those?
kidding.
What good is those high rep move? Or what good is your motor if you can't do 10 chest bars in a row?
Exactly.
It's like you have to have big sets of gymnastics ready to go, and then back that up with that motor.
I think it's the most important part of the open.
Yeah,
It's what
it
keeps
is.
people out of
It is.
regionals. It's gymnastics
Most
to keep them out.
That's what I've
So-
been telling people. It's like, hey, how many chest bars can you do? 10. You need to do like 40.
Right.
Like,
No, you're right.
You need to get better at those.
The girls that still think they can get away with 2 or 3
Nope.
muscle ups at a time, it's not going to fly.
It's like, that's great. You can breathe hard, but like, you still have to have big sets ready to go.
I agree. Good job.
Thanks, man.
You've done good today.
Thanks.
I'm going to have you on more often, I think.
Whoa.
Till that moment. Okay. Last part. Ted, are you ready? I think this is Ted's official debut on the podcast. Misfit Media Man is about to get on the microphone. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, there he is.
It's an honor to have you.
Q&A time.
He feels
It's an
blessed.
honor to be here, Jordan.
I feel really blessed to be here.
Ted's very blessed.
So our first question comes from Jordan Chovanek, and I think it's appropriate for today, given that we just watched Jordan do this. Just curious, why the name Pennies?
So
I asked that question earlier.
You did. 2 Jordans in one day asking the same question.
pennies, in case you've never tasted a penny, taste fairly irony, kind of metallic. Same kind of taste when you get what's called pulmonary edema. Lungs start to bleed a little bit, especially when you're in New England in October and you're running and you're from Houston. And you get that metallic taste in your mouth.
I think we've all had pennies, in our mouths at some point.
I thought you were trying to say we've all felt that in the Metcon, and then you're like, no, we've all definitely eaten a bunch of change.
I think we've all, had a
eaten
penny.
change.
in our
I
mouths.
think we've all had a penny. Said, I wonder what this tastes like. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gross.
it is.
It's gross.
So
But
that's
we
where the
keep doing
name pennies comes from.
It's true.
Bloody lungs.
All right. The second question is from Alvaro Suarez. And Alvaro wants to know, I think he's asking your opinion, but barbell conditioning, running, or track workouts?
Yes.
Good answer.
Wait.
Is it a question?
It is 2 questions, barbell conditioning,
Question mark.
running, or track workouts.
I mean, we do barbell conditioning every single day, right?
Yes.
Am I missing something?
Yeah. Wait, I'm confused.
Are we comparing the two?
Like-
Like barbell conditioning versus track workouts?
Oh, I thought he was
Oh.
asking running or track workouts. I was like, isn't that the same thing?
I think
Like
he's
run-
coupling those two
Okay.
together.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Both.
if he's asking me which I like better, I like running and track workouts. That's my personal preference.
No.
Yeah, I think a few people would disagree
Both.
with that, but that's what I like to do. What do you like to do?
I prefer running.
Cool.
But what do I do? Both. It's CrossFit. You got to be good at everything.
You got to be good at everything. Not me.
Just a few things here and there.
Yeah.
Get by.
All right. This question comes from Marin, and he says, what's your opinion? Back squat using a belt and more speed, or no belt when possible but a little slower?
Oh, boy.
Wow.
That's a great question.
That actually is.
That's a really good question.
And I would also just give them the both answer, but you could probably get into more in depth.
I would
Yeah.
say up to like a certain percentage. Like no belts up until you get to like 80 to 85%, and then put a belt on.
Yeah, this is going to be a different answer for powerlifters and CrossFitters. So
Yeah.
as a CrossFitter, you need to be able to do things like squat, snatch, moderate weight in flat, and not lifting shoes, not have a belt on because, to be honest, a lot of times when you use a belt, you can't breathe. It makes the Metcon harder.
Yeah.
So it's a skill that you need, and obviously if you followed the site during the summer, we knocked the percentages way down and just had people work on the skill without it. But the more that you can reach with heavier weights with the belt on, the stronger you're going to get. I mean, that's just a fact. So I would say warm up as long as you can without a belt, maybe do some sets, without a belt, but at the end of the day, like a 5 rep max,
Yeah,
throw that belt on.
definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Like I go through certain seasons where I'm like, all right, I don't want to use a belt for a while. I want to strengthen my core up, so I ban myself from belts. And then I get to a certain point, I'm like, all right, I want to start moving more weight, so I'll at a certain percentage I'll throw a belt on. And then in certain metcons, if your core's hurting, it's okay to throw a belt on during the metcon. Like if you have a Velcro belt, they're great because you can just undo them real quick. So don't be afraid to do that. Just don't get reliant on the belt.
Right.
If it's something you're wearing nonstop throughout the workout, there's a problem.
Agreed.
Like me in lifting shoes, like just all the time.
Just you sleep in them, wake up, let's do some squats. Let's go lift.
Need that extra range.
All right. This question is from Jesse Bays. If we are struggling with muscle ups but would like to take part in your workouts, what do you suggest we substitute them with?
Lots of things. So the muscle up progression can be attacked in like 50 different ways. As far as the workout goes, you just take them right out if you don't have them or have them in any sort of consistency. And I would say put something in. So you can put in the chest to bar, you can put in the ring dip, you can put in horizontal ring rows like with your feet up on a box and pull the rings to your sternum, kind of replicating what it would be like if you're in a muscle up, if you can do that, if you have enough strength to do that as well. There's all sorts of things you can do to make sure that the intensity stays up. Even in our affiliate class, we've just kept things as simple as you don't have muscle ups, you get to work on the skill, and then you get to do burpee pull-ups after. So you really get that same sort of, that effect on having to breathe super heavy like you would when you jump off the rings or whatever. So you have to just continue to work on those skills, those strengths, those things that kind of lead to the muscle up outside of the workout until you really start to hit them. Just like Jordan was talking about earlier, practice the movement in a separate skill session before you start to incorporate them into the workouts. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of be ruining both things. You're not going to get a good skill session on the muscle up in the workout, and you're not going to get a good workout either. You will have just basically wasted your time. So,
Agreed.
yeah. So if you just don't have them, just don't use that movement in the workout. Just keep working hard with some other things you can do and work on the muscle up outside with one of the 50 progressions that can be used.
All right. This one comes from Matt Wall, remote coaching athlete here for Misfit Athletics. It's a two-parter. His first question is, what is the official spirit animal of Misfit Athletics?
Oh, boy. I haven't given that much thought.
That's a good one. That's a good question. That's my
Spirit
favorite question so far.
Animal. It'd have to be something kind of odd. It can't be like a wolf or a tiger. That's just too common. It's not a bear. What is it?
Komodo dragon.
No.
Those things are nasty, man.
They are.
Wallaby. I don't even. What is a wallaby? Just the name sounds.
Wallaby's like a mini kangaroo, I think.
I think that's true.
Is that correct, Ted?
Like
Fact check?
Yeah,
Like a
I
jackal.
think a wallaby is a little too cute to be our
My
spirit
phone.
animal.
I know that's true because my phone auto-corrected a text to Cody that was supposed to be wall balls to wallaby. So I looked
Wow.
it up, and it's basically a squirrel and a kangaroo.
Isn't that Rocco's Modern Life when I was a kid?
Yeah, Rocco's a wallaby.
Yeah. That's how I know that.
Yeah.
Mountain goat.
Yeah.
Or,
A mountain goat.
jackal. or something.
Why? Well, those are two very different animals.
I don't know.
You're just
They're crazy.
spitballing over
They're
here?
crazy.
Just spitballing?
Misfits.
Could
They're crazy.
Cameron count as a spirit animal?
Cameron would think of a good animal, I think.
No, he is the animal.
No, yeah.
He
The
is
gorilla.
animal. The gorilla.
My dog is the animal.
Can Hercules be our
Yeah.
Achilles.
Achilles? I'm sorry.
Did you know Cam has a dog?
What?
All right, and part two of Matt's question.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that in the
Well,
next podcast. Maybe
all
we'll answer that next time.
I feel like this is an easy question to answer, but I want to ask it
Yay.
anyway.
Okay.
Which coach wins in a pancake eating contest? No syrup allowed, you savages.
That's not me. I ate about one.
Is it first? Wait, and is it the
Hold
4 of
on.
us or the 5 of
The
us?
5 of us, and it's a contest to eat pancakes.
This is a
Well,
Ted.
that's not-
okay, so
yeah.
Ted would beat Sherb, but if it was like 15
Ooh.
pancakes per time, he would crush Ted. So
It's
it
true.
depends on
Okay.
like
Are we talking
Ted
about
will
speed
Ted
or-
will be rolling around on the floor
Ooh.
and he could still cram pancakes in his face.
Let's
Sherb
say-
just stops eating, but Sherb eats like a 20-ounce ribeye in like 2 minutes.
It's true. You know what
It's
happened
disgusting.
if we let Jordan in on the contest? He'd go take all the pancakes before anyone could get any for the contest
'em.
and then eat them all. And Jordan would win by default.
I would like this very much. I see no fault in that, and
We know.
I will, take my trophy.
Don't worry, I wasn't hungry.
Okay, yeah. I didn't want any of those eggs.
CrossFit Super Steven Mina wants to know if there are any drills that you guys would suggest to improve movement and positions on Olympic lifts.
Oh my goodness. Yes, there are some.
Episode 18 of the Misfit Athletics podcast will be about.
And 19.
I mean, we do a pretty good job of hammering them in cycle 1. So if he's not comfortable with kind of figuring it out on his own just through positioning drills, you can go to cycle 1 and our articles on there for both the snatch and the clean and jerk. We have the ways to improve your snatch and clean and jerk, which kind of both have those tips in there.
Yeah.
So those would be places to go. Put yourself in positions that you're supposed to be in. Okay, so if you have a tough time getting to power position from the floor with heavy weight, go there with lighter weight and feel it out. Feel the low hang. Feel pulling correctly from the floor. I think one of the biggest issues that people have is they're just so eager to put more weight on the bar and they don't go through the positions that they're supposed to be in. So, again, a little humility could probably get you back through these positions fairly easily. So, I think the beginning of cycle 1 is like MFT 730-ish, I would say, somewhere along those lines. I mean, you can just search cycle 1 in the search bar on our site, and you can find this stuff if you haven't seen it yet.
There's times to be a meathead, and there's times not to be. Like, you need to know when not to put weight on the bar.
All right. I'm just happy that someone's bringing up footwork because I think that's just so commonly overlooked. And like you guys are saying, they just want to keep going up in the
lift.
Are
you supposed to, in the split jerk, put all your weight on your front foot and throw everything backwards?
Worked for me.
Right, yeah. Does it?
330.
I mean,
330.
That a boy.
We were just talking with Jordan today
spine,
during his lifts about just like the most, it looks like a very complicated problem he has with super heavy split jerks, but really when it comes down to it, it's just moving his feet in a different pattern and it'll set everything else up from the ground up. And that's the case in a lot of people's clean, snatch, all that stuff. Your starting position of your feet and your catch position of your feet are just so important, and people just don't spend enough time working on drilling those things. Having specific drills in mind, there are certain rules, I guess we would say, that we use with most lifters, but the actual movement itself is going to vary from person to person. There's no one size fits all position. So I'm glad he's bringing it up and thinking about it at least.
There's lots of drills like you can do just for the warm up, like almost every time you do it until, you're going to have to put in the repetitions to get it down.
Yes, you are.
The repetitions.
Yes, you are.
Lots and lots of repetitions.
Back to work.
I think that's it for questions.
That's it for questions?
Hop wants to know why we haven't done a Mark Pro episode.
I don't know. I don't even
either.
know how we would do that. like we're all shaking while we're doing the podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we should make sure
Play
stick
some
like 3 or
really
4 Mark
light
Pros to his
techno
body.
music in the back.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd feel pretty good after. I'd be really recovered. And
Ted, what was it like to be on the podcast?
It was interesting. I'm just glad I don't have to be in front of the camera.
It was the best day of my entire life.
Wild card. Next time you're going to be in front of the camera.
So before we say goodbye, anything left? Just say hi to your fans.
Hello, Jordan Cook fans. Thank you for liking me more than Travis.
Cool. Yeah.
Buy Jordan Cook shirts.
We still sell those
not
shirts.
Not the one Travis flipping me off.
That's true. That is directed at you.
That one is directed at me.
I never think about it that way, but when you say it, it is. It's a middle finger to you.
It's a middle finger to me.
Specifically to you.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I just did it. Like I didn't know if you beat me or I beat you, but I was like, I was gonna flip you off. He goes like, well, I beat you, or oh dang it, you beat me.
Didn't matter.
Fits both.
Didn't matter. And I was like, all right, man. I ran up to you. I was like, good job. We made the games together. And you're like, like just flipping me off. I'm like, love you too, bro.
Yeah.
Everyone kept asking me.
Asking
Dude,
you what?
Why did he flip you off? Oh my gosh, I was messed up. Like, no, it's just Travis.
If he didn't, I'd be like, oh, what's
wrong?
wrong?
You okay, bud?
You don't seem that excited,
You feeling
Travis.
all right?
I think that's it. You guys,
it's been like 3 hours. I think we've been talking.
Yeah, we've been up here for a while.
You guys like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll keep making stuff for you.
Yep,
Yeah.
Just go to J CrossFit Cook. Like it.
Where do they go to J CrossFit Cook?
Is that a website?
I
.com?
think it's on Instagram.
Oh, Instagram.
At
Gotcha.
J CrossFit Cook. That's y'all's new handle, right?
See you guys later.